Chris Tyson, best known for being close friends with Mr.Beast and featuring on his channels. Chris has played a huge role over the years, showing up regularly across all of Mr.Beast's socials and has developed a fandom around his appearances. But recently there has been a lot of controversy surrounding him due to coming out as transgender and acknowledging his transition into being a woman. This has sparked massive uproar all over social media, from hate and abuse to support and congratulations, with everyone and their dog seemingly talking about this. Is he corrupting the youth? Is it all a brand move? Is he just being selfish? Or is he just simply being himself finally? In this video, I'm going to be giving my objective view on the matter, look at some responses addressing the topic, and trying to make light of a seemingly very tumultuous subject. First off, I'd just quickly like to say, if you're upset or annoyed in this situation because you're a massive Mr.Beast fan and you're concerned about the effect this has had or could have on the crew, or the possible change in dynamic, I get it. You've had years of content and a certain rhythm to how things go, and this may change or has changed, and that can be frustrating. Like hunting 50 people or I paid an assassin to kill me might not hit the same. Whatever you're into, I guess. And if you think it's unfair that Mr.Beast has been put in a very difficult spot, that's also fair. There have been points made about certain times the crew have looked uncomfortable or lost and instantly pin it on this situation. And that may be the case, it's a unique scenario for them to deal with. But it may also just be that people are focusing on the recent drama and pinning it all on that. You just never know, unboxing mystery boxes might have them on edge.
Oh. Fuck. No, dude. It smells like shit.
Unboxing mystery boxes. I'd also just like to quickly add, I know this is a very polarising and touchy subject, so if you have an opinion, let me know in the comments, being as civil as possible of course. I think people are now talking about this so heavily as it seems quite sudden and extreme. He went from a seemingly stereotypical man's man to transitioning into femininity. A lot of people are putting this down to Carl Jacobs and the impact he's had on Chris, this being dubbed the Carl Jacobs effect. I think if someone changes due to something they see or are surrounded by, that's usually because they resonate or take positives from that behaviour or style. It's not like brainwashing, they either accept that energy or they don't. Like Chris didn't go from a trucking, fishing guy's guy to a woman after he saw Carl dancing or being sus one time. That's why the rest of the crew haven't been affected in this way by Carl, and Chris has. He may have felt this way for a while, and now, after seeing Carl so openly be himself, has seen it's okay to show it. Like you won't watch this and start morphing into a woman or man. Just like if you watch a gym transformation video, you won't necessarily feel the burning need to kill your cat 500 times. Some people might though. That's not to say the idea of confusion this may cause a young and impressionable viewer is not there, as it definitely is. I've seen a lot of comments saying this. It's a really complex situation as it could confuse the hell out of one viewer and have a negative impact on them, but for another viewer they could resonate with the idea and it could help them in a positive way. What is Chris supposed to do in this situation he's in? Continue to lie about who he really is? I mean, that's his decision to make and to deal with what follows. I've also seen a lot of concern about his wife and family. Now, I'm sure his family was made well aware of the situation a while back, so if you think he's just dumped this all on his wife and close friends out of the blue, he most likely didn't. And for the kid, the little brother doesn't even know what the colour red is yet, so I wouldn't worry whether his parents' identification is an immediate issue. I've seen a lot of comments asking what happened, why did he do this, how could he do this? It clearly wasn't an overnight decision, I'd bet. I don't think he and many others just woke up and thought, that's it, I'm bored of being male, I'm now a woman. It's not a South Park skit for most. For most, that is. It was, I'd imagine, a long time coming that has now recently just fully come to pass. I'm also certain he was aware of the insane backlash he might receive, and he did it anyway. And to be honest, it's irrelevant what or why someone does something with their bodies, to be honest. As long as they aren't hurting anyone, I see no real issue in it. Now, this does get very hazy when other factors come into play. Now, I received a comment recently regarding this subject, which I found quite interesting. This comment isn't unique in its overall message. I've seen this type of comment quite a bit over social media. It seems like people aren't as concerned for the Chris Tyson situation, but are in fact concerned more about the potential harm external factors may have. Before I make this next point, I'd just like to say any comment which isn't inherently just pure awful is accepted on my videos. Criticism, opinions, support, whatever.
I've got no problem with gay, lesbian, bisexuals. I'm bi myself. What I have a problem with is people going on about being gay 24/7, thinking it's a personality or a lifestyle.
This is more of a personal dislike with a personality trait rather than a problem with the topic at question. Like personally, if your whole personality is based on thinking Family Guy is better than South Park, just don't ever talk to me.
With people forcing all this trans rainbow BS on kids, with all the groomers and sickos trying to mess with kids and make them mentally ill. Hell, I used to play with toy soldiers and tanks in the mud when I was little. Did that make me a boy that needed to be groomed and put on hormones? Hell no.
This is also a common wide concern, and is one that I personally share. There is a lot of very questionable things I've seen with the rainbow flag attached to it as an excuse. like 60-year-olds identifying as babies, people of age targeting minors, and people faking pains that aren't there during transition. Add all this to a potentially very vulnerable and young group, and that's obviously fucking scary. But there is a line between this and this. You can't associate one with the other. I don't think Chris coming out as trans makes him a groomer or a sicko. I also don't think everyone that supports the rainbow flag supports this activity either.
When you get down to the rainbow community is deeply sick, full of attention seekers, groomers, narcissistic victimhood. No self-respecting gay/lesbian/bisexual associates themselves with the rainbow community. We just live our lives.
Is this all true? I'm not sure. It may be in some cases, but does that mean that the whole of the rainbow community is just this? I mean, I'd wager not. I'd imagine a lot of connotations with the flag is to simply show pride and acceptance with who they are. Just because a few people do something dodgy does not mean everyone else loosely linked to it is to blame as well. As I said in my Andrew Tate video, there is always a yin and a yang for every situation. For every Sam Smith there's an Andrew Tate, for every Penguins there's a Sneeko, and for every person who thinks Warzone is a fun experience, there's a rational, sane human being. So, are there some very concerning things surrounding said topic? For sure. But is there also positives to take? I mean, I'd definitely say so. If you're like this comment, who wants nothing to do with the LGBT and is concerned by other factors, that's absolutely fine. And if you take positives from the situation, that's also great. At the end of the day, you decide what beliefs and ideals you have. So my overall take on the situation, along with lots of others I'm sure, is it's all quite confusing. As someone who has never experienced what these people have gone through or are going through, I don't know the trials and tribulations of what it's like. I'd imagine it's just as confusing for young people to understand the world nowadays, let alone truly understanding themselves. The hate and overall attention this has received is quite insane, but not necessarily shocking. It's crazy how one person's choice has caused such a wild talking point. I personally don't think he's mentally ill, nor do I think he's done anything particularly wrong in this situation, with the limited information we know, that is, of course. I think he's done what's right for him in this moment, and I can't really bash him for that. Are there worries and concerns I have surrounding the larger picture? Absolutely. But everyone is singular, and I wouldn't want to group someone just trying to be themselves with someone with ill intent. That personally goes for every walk in life, really. He isn't affecting me, I don't know the guy, and to be honest, I don't care enough about what he's doing. I've got my own shit to worry about, really. Those around him will do what they think's best for them, and that will be what it'll be. At the end of the day, regarding the Chris Tyson situation, the topic is much bigger than Chris himself. He just seems to be a current case study, if you can call it that. Filled with questions, concerns, hate, support, and everything in between. I just hope everyone's doing alright at the end of the day. This has been a more serious than funny video compared to my usual videos, and I've tried to be as objective as possible so to not cross the line. If this is your first video of mine you're watching, then I'm sorry. My other videos/future videos will be much more lighthearted depending on feedback and opinions I get. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great week, and remember, if you're going through some shit, nothing bad lasts forever, and nothing really matters, so just be happy. Well, in a bit.
Then I'm sorry.